New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand has been one of the loudest and most outspoken critics of the new administration. You know, I don't even know what to say.
Fits right in.
Except for, please welcome the fabulous and very forward-thinking Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. So, here's my question. So, as we know, with all bills that come out, there's always something that we can tweak and make better. What was wrong with what they call Obamacare, and what could we have done just to tweak it to make it better for folks, in your opinion?
Well, as I've traveled around upstate New York, some of the things they loved was covering kids, making sure you get coverage for pre-existing conditions, not getting charged more just because you're a woman, not getting dropped the day you get pregnant. Those really mattered. But for a lot of folks, the issue that still is sometimes it's still too expensive. Sometimes for a middle-class family, it's still taking too much of their income, or for a small business, too expensive. So one of the best solutions, I think, is if you could have a not-for-profit public option that you could buy into. So something like Medicare. If you could buy into Medicare, it would be there for you. It would create competition in the system. It would not have that fat profit that is mandatory for any other for-profit company. Right. And so you can offer something less expensive that covers most things.
Do you think that's ever going to happen?
I think we should fight for it. Yes, you should fight for a buy-in for Medicare. We should absolutely fight for Medicare for all. Right. It would make a huge difference, I think, to many New Yorkers who just want to have basic care and they can't afford what's being offered.
Well, you know, women stand a lot to lose here, as you mentioned. But when you look at the photo of the people that are deciding working on this bill, look at the 13 senators. They're all men.
Do any of them have
all men? All Republicans.
Female genitalia? Maybe we're missing something? I mean, how?
White men.
Does that concern you? When you see that?
It does, because women do have a lot to lose. We were really discriminated against by healthcare companies without Obamacare. We were charged more. Being a mom was considered a pre-existing condition for some people. The fact that we would be charged more because we're women, because we might get pregnant, and then when we are pregnant, that was being considered a pre-existing condition. So we have a lot to lose, and it's offensive, and it's troubling that there are no women.
How does that happen, though?
People vote for them.
It's Washington. It's one of the reasons why I started a political action committee called Off the Sidelines, asking women to run for office, asking other women to support them, asking women to be heard, asking them to be advocates. We need more diversity. I promise you, if you had 51% of women in Congress, we wouldn't be debating whether women should have access to contraception and whether they should be charged more for health care, or whether we should have a national paid leave plan. All of these issues, women would understand they are fundamental to our economy, fundamental to families, and we wouldn't have to fight so hard for these basic rights.
We are fighting, and congressmen all over the place are getting a lot of flack back home in New York State with Congressman Reed, and I believe in Idaho,
pretty much everywhere.
Town hall held in Idaho. Let's look at this tape and see what happened there.
You are mandating people on Medicaid except dying. You are making a mandate.
No one wants anybody to die. You know, that line is so indefensible. Nobody dies because they don't have access to health care.
Okay, first of all...
All right, y'all.
You know...
It's all right.
Some people say that he was talking about emergency rooms, which a lot of people died there, too, by the way. But I think people interpreted that as sweeping generalization.
If you're diagnosed with cancer and you don't have access to medical treatment,
you die.
You're not going to survive. I met a man who lived a very healthy life, small business owner, always had access to health care. He was diagnosed with a horrible infection in his heart. He had emergency open heart surgery. If he didn't have health care, he would have never been able to afford it, and he's going to have another open heart surgery in the next 10 years. He would die if he didn't have access to basic health care to keep him alive.
So how do these people get away with making stupid statements like that?
Well, I don't think they are getting away with it, do you? No. I think people are standing up and speaking out, and the grassroots is making a huge difference in this country. Because of the grassroots alone, they pushed back on Trump care. They said, we are not... and they're going to do it again. And what's been offered is so toxic, so harmful to so many people. People are going to stand up and say, it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to my family. I want my kids covered. I don't want to be charged more.
But that bill's not going to pass in the Senate.
It will not.
No,
it will not.
Said they're going to start again.
Hillary Clinton has been back in the news again. She just did this Women for Women International event, and she spoke, and the way that she answered some of the questions, people felt that she was reluctant to take personal responsibility. I was one of those people who felt that way for the loss in the election, heavily blaming Comey, heavily blaming Russia. And her presentation of this in this way, does this help or hurt the party? Because I think people are looking for her to say, we didn't do proper groundwork in these states. We're making changes. The Democratic Party is fixing this for next time. And she's not giving that to them.
Well, I don't think it's about the party. I think it's about the people. And I've been traveling all across my state. And what Democrats need to do to win is they need to listen a lot more and work harder to represent the people. And they need to know that we're fighting for them. But I think what's happening today is really remarkable. With how many people were at the Women's March? Anybody here march? How many people marched?
One over here.
I marched. It was an extraordinary moment in our nation's history. People marched all over the globe, millions of people, men and women, children, on all issues. They marched for every issue, whether it was women's reproductive freedom or Black Lives Matter or clean air, clean water or Muslims or immigration. It didn't matter.
Right.
And so it was an intersectional moment, an intersectional march. And so what's happening now is the grassroots is driving the solutions. You're not going to find the answers from Washington. You're not going to find some one leader to lead us all. It's going to be regular people standing up, demanding what's right, fighting for what they believe in. And that is the future of Democratic politics and all politics.
See, you just said that beautifully, though, but do you think it would be beneficial for when she's asked those kinds of questions? People do see her as a leader in the party. Many people were excited for her to potentially win and do want some acknowledgement of that from the person who lost.
Said it. What do you want her to do?
I think Hillary Clinton has done an extraordinary thing. She has continued to inspire women and girls around the globe to want to lead, to actually stand up. And Emily's List has confirmed it. 11,000 women have called them up and said, I want to run, I want you to train me. So what Hillary's done is done something really hard to put yourself out there, to run for president, and to fight for something she believes in. That's the role model. She's created this role model for all of us, that all of our voices matter, that each one of us has a role to play. Each one of us can fight the fight that matters the most to us. And so I'm grateful for her leadership. And I think all of us now know it's up to us. It's up to us to take the baton the next yard. It's up to us to fight the next fight.
That's right. You know, that's why we love her.